Hey there, folks. It's D Fish here of Finding D, the semi-autobiographical webcomic that I draw about myself and Heidi and our life and all the trials and tribulations of trying to make it in comics while coming out in your 40s as transgender. Doing a little bit of a speed inking video here that I'm doing a little post narration on because it's very hard to narrate something being sped up in real time. I did this cover in Photoshop. I usually do the covers digitally because it allows me to get a better line quality on the larger sized image. Whereas if I were to draw on paper, it adjusts it different from the size that I normally draw the strips at on paper. Starting here with the pencil brush that I have in Photoshop that I really like. It's got a nice pencil-y line. And if the pose is familiar, because we do a bunch of strips in this book that are a gag about us doing karaoke at 80s night. Decided to do the cover as a parody of the old Totally Mini ad campaign that Disney did back in the 80s. So it's the same pose from the Totally Mini campaign, which is why I just moved my eyes to like a more an up position. I'm switching now to the inking brush, which is from the Kyle's inking brush collection in Photoshop, and found this really nice brush that I like. Gives it a line quality similar to what I do in like hand inking stuff. Some of the lines you'll notice I end up having to like do a couple of times because it's just I'm not as used to doing digital inking anymore as I used to be. It's like that shoulder took forever to get right, and I'm still not. It's still a little lumpy. But I remember I kind of fix it in the sleeve. I actually have giant pearls, but Minnie did in the original ad, so I'm gagging that. Even though the costume that I'm wearing here, that is actually based mostly on what I actually did wear to 80s night in the real world, that the strips that we're doing are based on. Again, most of my work in the comic is actually done on paper. Traditionally, I have little blue line templates that I print out and do my drawings on. And in this case for the cover, because I wanted to have a very specific style to the line art, I tend to work digitally. Also, it was fun because then I get to do the little time-lapse video and share it with everyone else. It took me about a half hour to draw and ink the entire piece. It's not that complicated of an ink piece because unlike the inside strips, it's going to be colored, so I didn't go nuts with noodling or rendering or anything like that, keeping the lines pretty open. Got it sped down to just under 6 minutes, so it's a much shorter video than most of my normal ones, which run like an hour and a half. So some folks might actually watch this one and be like, oh, that was quick enough. Oh yeah, that big loop of the hair, the giant final netted hair bangs that Heidi gave me. That was just a nightmare trying to get my hair to do that, and then washing it out. Ugh, kind of almost glad I wasn't like out in the 80s. Had to do this. Ugh, it was a trick. Now, I'm not wearing my normal glasses. Instead, you'll notice I just drew 3D glasses on my head, and that's because I'm going to do an alternate print of the cover in 3D, because I had to do that. Maybe like a Kickstarter thing where I'll send it out with 3D glasses or something, just for fun, just the cover. And give myself the big mini bow, because you got to give yourself the big mini bow if you're doing a mini parody. And the big side pony, after I finish drawing the neck in there, obviously. The line weight issues are real easy to mitigate digitally. All you gotta do is just change the either a little bit of your changing of the pressure. Yeah, getting the big swooshy lines is real tricky. Always takes a few times to get it right. Still want to keep some noodly little like nibby render lines in there because I want it to still feel like my own work, and I always do the little render lines in the strip. So trying to get that kind of get the same feeling for it as much as possible. And I really want to color this like as day glow as I can, even though the printer ink's not day glow. Really want to get it as bright and as vividly, aggressively 80s as possible. I'm 45, which means I was a child of the 80s, so none of this is some kind of invention that I didn't see firsthand. And this is an outfit that I did, in fact, wear out once to a local bar when we did 80s night karaoke. And that's a running gag in the strip, in the strips that are collected in this issue, which will be the 7th issue of the Finding Dee comic book. Again, the strip can always be found online every Wednesday and Friday at FindingDee.com or FindingDeeComic.com. Coming to the end of the video here, finishing up with my leg warmers and my, I was wearing my pink chucks for that, so I'll be drawing the pink chucks in there. They don't really fit as well anymore. My feet got wide on hormones, and I already had wide feet to begin with, so it really did screw up my shoe options. So I try to always do the signature last. And here we go. It's the finished cover, and I hope you enjoyed the little speed inking video. I hope to do some more of these, and hope you enjoy the comic, and I'll see you all later. Bye!